Razor Connor, how you doing, brother? You doing well? All right. Evan, how you doing, bro? Miklas, how you doing, sir? Welcome, everyone. I hope you guys are doing well. We're just gonna wait for people to filter in. If you're watching this after the live stream, just, I guess, 10 minutes or so. So skip just to about 10-minute mark. Then you should be fine. So, brother, I was prepping to take my CDL knowledge test, but DMV closed today due to weather. What the hell is a CDL? Razor Connor, I don't know what that is. Is that like a truck license or something? Come on. Ah. Wait, that is like a truck license, no? Oh, yeah. All right. I know what that is. I don't know what the code is here for that. It has a code. I'm EB8, I think, which means I can drive a car and a trailer, or a car with a trailer. That's, I think it's EB8, and then you just get E or EB, and then you can't have a trailer. Ravy G, how you doing, bro? We're just waiting for everyone to filter in so that we can have some discussions. Shay, how you doing? Because there appears to be a lot going on in the gaming industry that we absolutely have to talk about. I've not had the chance to play KCD 2 yet because I'm still in Austria. Oh, well, you know, you'll have plenty of time to play it, I guess. The trailer you can haul is less than 10k pound. The woke battle is funny. I won't unsubscribe from Aris, Trained Mac, and Razor First because 99% they get it right. I cannot support the left at all. I'm a middle ground person and hate virtue signaling. That's fair. That's fair. I haven't seen you since Shadowlands. Bonanzai, how you doing, bro? How you doing, man? Doing good, a bit sore from snowboarding the past 4 days. I can imagine that, Ravi G. Finally streaming at an American-friendly time. Epic Thulu, how you doing, bro? Well, you know, we have to talk. There's a lot of political stuff happening, especially within the gaming industry. And we got to talk about that. Time to send you a few pictures I took. Yeah, I'd love to see it, man. I'd love to see it. We're just gonna wait for everyone to show up, and then we'll talk. There's a lot. There's a lot going on. Gaming industry appears to be melting down. There's a lot of takes that is really annoying to me. And good chance stuff I'm gonna say today is gonna piss some of you off. I'm not gonna lie. I'm probably not gonna have the take that you were hoping for. Assassino Creator, how you doing, bro? I don't want and can't accept any woke or LGBTQ stuff. That's perfectly fine, bro. Hello, no Ixion today? Today, no. Today is a talking-only stream. We're going to be talking about some topics. Some topics that's important. Greetings, salutation. Mooksard, how you doing? Snowboarding, nice. I haven't seen snow in, what, 12, 13 years? The USH is awful. The conspiracy theory was that China was backing these ESG loans and to destabilize the market. Instead, it was USD aid converting that money to create ESG loans. Messed up. Yeah, we'll talk about that. That's going to be the second topic for today. Because there's just a lot. In that topic, I sort of more wanted to go live to hear what you guys have to say and to sort of have a back and forth. The first topic, the KCD stuff, that's all me. I have a lot that I want to say about that. Thundercool, how you doing? Dreamland, how you doing? Gentlemen, Jelaminya, how you doing? What did you guys do today? What's everyone up to? Did you see Varva crashing out lately? Thundercool, we're going to be talking about that. Yes, Mark Master, how you doing, bro? I'm hoping you ain't turned, lad. Andrew, turned to what? Breakfast, then walk. Nice, Shay. That's nice. Evan, that's good. I've been working myself, and now I'm working more. I'm doing another playthrough of the Dead Space remake. Nice. My prediction, Mass Effect title will be a looter shooter Anthem style. They will not confirm what engine they're using. They said it was Unreal 5 years ago. I bet it's Frostbite. Everything I've heard from behind the scenes, now, I don't have a source directly in EA, but I do have a source that has people in EA. And from everything I've heard, they're not going to force Frostbite. they've burnt their fingers with that enough. They know Frostbite won't do the job. Michael, how you doing, bro? Miracos, how you doing? I think the KCD pushback stuff is going too far, but they brought it to themselves by going back on what they said during the KCD 1 drama. First day work after being home for a week. Exhausted, little regrets about choice of work, but fine otherwise. Doesn't everyone basically just regret their choice of job? Except for me. I like my job. I think my job's pretty cool. So you tweet about KCD 2. You're 100% right. Well, we're going to talk about that. And yeah, Nico Spider, thank you so much. 31 months, part of the DJ Nation. Appreciate you. Thank you. If you, the numbers Al, how you doing? If you want to get my sort of unfiltered, unfettered thoughts before videos, you need to follow me over on Twitter. I like to say spicy things. I don't tweet a lot. I only tweet when I have something to say. So, good take on that EA video. Joseph, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. We're going to be talking about that, Tekla. Let's just give it a moment. I want everyone to sort of join in. If you're watching this afterwards, I think we're going to start at around the 10-minute mark, so about 3 minutes from now. So you can just skip. Show the tweets. I'm not on X. Today, we're going to be talking about that in a second, so you don't have to worry about seeing the tweet. Bonnie, how you doing, bro? Evan, thank you very much. Really appreciate that. So we're going to be talking about the USAID stuff after the KCD stuff. That's when we'll talk about the USAID stuff, because there is a lot about the USAID stuff. He wanted to say woke infestation, but he can't. Joseph, who can't say woke infestation? I can say that. I can say whatever the hell I want. I say whatever I want, and if it rubs people the wrong way, that's really their problem. Chaotic, how you doing, bro? You ever heard of Mike Baines? No. Sounds familiar, but no. I don't think so. If I've heard of him, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. Maybe I have heard of him. I'm very bad with names. There's people that I've literally made 3 Sundays in a row. Same couple, husband and wife. I still don't know their names. They introduce themselves every single Sunday. I can't remember their names. I think the husband's name is something like Phil or something. But I might be wrong on that. So whenever I greet him, I just go, hey, bro, how you doing? I can't remember his name. I have to get going, drinking beer. I'm going to assume you'll upload the KCD section. Everything, the whole stream will remain up, so you can just watch it afterwards. That has been blowing the lid of you. Oh, wait. No, wait. I told people on Stream Chaotic to watch him once. I think he was on Joe Rogan's podcast. And I told people on stream to go watch him. Because that guy, if you want to know how deep the rabbit hole gets on the USAID stuff, or the USD aid, go watch that podcast with Joe Rogan. It's about 3 hours long. This guy unveils everything. He shows you just how terrible USD aid is. No one should want USD aid alive. The only people that want it alive are the Democrats, because they use USD aid as a way to buy votes, as a way to sway the culture, and as a way to shut people up. Outside of that, no normal American should want USD aid anywhere. Beyond that, EA CEO couldn't spell out woke to its investors. Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? Say to your investors, oh yeah, we hired a bunch of political Andes and they destroyed our video games. I mean, how bad would that be? Right? So I think Andrew Wilson just sort of grabbed at straws. I think Andrew Wilson just sort of went, I need to blame something. I need to find something to blame this on. I'll just blame it on live service. That's a good thing. Just finished Velgard last night. As I said, I would make myself finish it since I paid for it. Oh dear lord, I had to binge some BG3 to cleanse my brain. Niggas better. It's a really bad game. Also, some fiddling with the game industry. Gamergate can be found too. Voters are turning on the Dames. Echo after the Dames want to stand for USD aid continuing. Democratic voters will never turn on the Democrats. They are if you're lucky and you make it through the US school system, not just the US, every country in the world, by the way. But we're talking about the US now, so we'll just focus on that. If you're lucky to make it through the school system with your critical thinking skills intact, you are one of the few. People sort of thought, let's give the minds of our children to the government. What could possibly go wrong? And what went wrong is people thinking the government somehow cares about education. The government couldn't give two shits about education. What is important to the government is training good little voters. And that's exactly what you have. The people that support the Democrats, not all, there are some that's just sort of taken in and they just sort of go along with it. But most of the people that support the Democrats are good little voters. They don't look too deep. When Chuck Schumer or Bernie Sanders... Dude, Bernie Sanders has had the most contributions of any senator ever from the pharmaceutical company. He tweets out and says not a dime of that came from the corporation themselves, but from the workers. $28 a pop. And I keep thinking to myself, is it possible that the workers are as corrupt as the people that run it? And before you think to yourself, nah, that can't be possible, I know someone who works for a pharmaceutical company. When I asked this person, where's the cure for the flu? Why don't we have a cure for the flu? I was told in no uncertain terms, because we're not looking for it. Whenever they get to a part of the research that may lead to a cure, that research is shut down immediately and they start with new research. They're not looking to cure it. They're looking to treat it. That's it. So when they because once they've discovered the cure, they're not allowed by law to hide it. So they stop the research before they get to the cure. And they go, oh, nothing here. We don't know what you're talking about. And that's the workers, by the way. That's the workers. So, yeah, Bernie Sanders is as corrupt as the rest of them. The fact that there's people who think, no, Bernie is one of the good ones. Why would you think that? The dude's been in government for how many decades? Why would you think he's good? Nothing's ever changed with him in government. What makes him good? I don't understand. I thought voting was stupid when I was in high school, and I got called out multiple times for not voting in 2008 when I was 17. Keith, I get that. Wheels, how you doing, bro? Shims in your blood due to American diet. Sanders is the spokesperson for Pfizer. On the down low, dude got millions each year. Can I send links about KCD too? Zealous, how you doing, bro? Thundercool, yeah, sure, you can. Frankly, a lot of it has to do with women voting. Largest block of Dem voters. Women vote for nanny state policies, social conformity, and emotional appeals to minority causes. Have you seen the stats breaking down if only men voted versus women in the US? Well, by that same mantra, have you seen the stat breakdown of if college-only educated people voted in the US? The Dames would win by a sweepstake, like 100%. The Dames would take everything. Now, the Dames, of course, look at this going, dude, clearly it's just us, the smart people that should vote. And I'm thinking to myself, you really think you're the smart people? Like, you think you are the smart guys? Okay, cool. You know, morons never know that they're morons. That's the sad fact. Look at what group does the best in college right now. I mean, it is what it is. We can talk about that for a long time. But before we get into stuff that we all agree on, I thought it might be prudent of me to first make all of you angry. I think that's a good place to start. Let's make everyone nice and angry so that we can get to the more fun stuff a little bit later on. Now, I wonder how am I going to... Do I want to pick on individual creators or... Cedia, how you doing, bro? So, I don't really want to pick on individual content creators, but it kind of has to be done. Not because I'm trying to pick on her. That's not at all what I'm trying to do. It's more that she happens to encapsulate a lot of the stuff that is currently really triggering me. I'm just looking quickly here for the exact tweet. I wasn't going to use the tweet, so I didn't have it prepared. Oh, come on. Holy shit. Some people tweet so much, man. Like, why would you tweet 4 million times a day? Like, there's like 7 tweets here at the exact same amount of hours ago. It's nuts. Like, why are you tweeting so much? There's no reason for this. Oh, come on. Well, here's one example of this from God Empress of Mankind, right? And this is just, I'm not picking on her specifically. I want to make that super clear. I'm not trying to call her out specifically. I have nothing against her. I follow her. I've had some back and forth with her on this particular topic. On other topics, I fully agree with her. But this one, she manages to encapsulate all of the ways in which this stuff annoys me. Last KCD tweet because honestly, the whole discourse is absolutely brain dead. Love him or hate him. Donald Vavra put it plainly. RPGs equal choice. Like a character. Flirt, don't like them. Keep your pants on. It's that simple. Say if you tried screenshots and copy-pasted arguments for someone who cares. I don't. This is so-called fence-sitting, cowardly centrist. Okay, so here's my first problem with this. When you actively skew an argument, so you actively, and I don't want to say that they are lying because that would be attributing actual malice. It could either be because they themselves just don't understand what the actual arguments are, or it's a case of they are actively trying to misrepresent the argument. When you tell me that RPGs equal choice is good, 100%. Absolutely agree with you. If this was KCD 1, we would have no issues. Like 0. There would be absolutely no issues if this was KCD 1. But it is not KCD 1. There's another tweet that she made that really encapsulates it. Just quickly look at my replies here, because I know I replied to that specific tweet. So here she says, I'm holding off on Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 until the discourse dies down. God forbid I just enjoy a game without someone reminding me every 2 seconds, actually, Henry isn't a blank slate and he's canonically heterosexual. Cool story, I'll romance Hans so fast you won't even have time to spell gay. Miss me with that nonsense. Now here's where I want to make I want to make something super clear. I play games that have gay characters in them. Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 is in my top 5 games of all time. I couldn't care less. If it is just a choice, it's not forced on me, I don't have to interact with it at all. In Mass Effect 1, in fact, I think it's done brilliantly because unless you're actually flirting with Kaidan, you won't even know. It wouldn't even matter. That's not what this debate or this issue is about. The issue has nothing to do with that. And to the people who are like, or believe like God Empress here believes, I have one thing to say. From this moment forward, whenever there is a race swap in a movie or a video game, whenever a character that was previously straight is turned gay, like let's say there's a remake of Lord of the Rings and Frodo and Sam is actually in a fucky relationship, whenever there is any sort of scrutiny about a character breaking from the lore, I want to hear nothing at all from you ever again. God Empress, I am watching your bloody tweets. I see a single tweet of any game where they have swapped things around and you complaining about it, we're gonna have trouble. I have screenshotted all of your stupid tweets. I want you to understand something. Just because you don't have a problem with it does not mean that it is principally not wrong. I don't care that they want a gay character in the game. What is important is that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is the sequel to Kingdom Come Deliverance 1. Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 set up very specific canonical realities. It wrote Henry in a very specific manner. Daniel and his absurdity over the last few weeks aside, himself said in the first one, that Henry isn't you. Henry is an established character. You are simply playing Henry's story. Henry is doing his own thing. You get to be a part of Henry's story. Now, suddenly, all of that's changed. Suddenly, we're going back on all of this. If you guys don't believe me, just so that we have some evidence here, because, I don't want to be seen as lying to you, here's Warhorse Studios, the official account for Warhorse Studios. When asked if it would be possible for someone to play as a gay character, as a gay Henry, same-sex romance, no. You will play as Henry, the son of a blacksmith from Silver Scalus, and he already does have a background story in which he is not bi or homosexual. But there will be homosexual NPC characters in the game. And then there's a reply saying, so those players who are not straight will be forced to romance a woman. And Warhorse again replies and says, nobody will force you to do anything, but you will play as Henry, the son of a blacksmith. And yes, he is straight and white and male and from Bohemia. Someone from France will not be able to play as a French guy, even if he loves his country. If you're in a wheelchair, you will be able to walk in the game. And Henry will be able to have a dog in the game, even if you are more of a kind of a cat person. You will play as a Christian person, even if you are Muslim, Hindu, atheist, or Jedi. What if you are an artist and drawing is your life, and now you have to play as a character who is not able to hold a brush or a pen at all? Or if you are tall or small or big or skinny. There is nothing wrong about people to have different preferences and heritages, but we cannot cover them all, and we don't want to. We want to tell the story of Henry, the son of a blacksmith from Silver Scalus, and he will be different from you. This was the official statement from Kingdom Come Deliverance 1. Henry now suddenly being able to romance a dude in the game is changing the fundamental canonical lore of the game. It is swapping the sexual identity of a main character for what? Ladies and gentlemen, what is the definition of woke? What is the definition of woke? It's forcing politics into video games. You have an established character. You yourself established this character as straight. When you suddenly shoehorn that character into the ability to now be gay, how is that not woke? Please explain that to me. How is that not woke? If you so desperately wanted to have your main protagonist be gay, make a new one. Make the game take place 50 or 100 years after the events of Henry, and this new character can be gay as hell, sucking dicks as far as he goes. Every level you want to go up, you have to suck a dick first. I don't even care. Fundamentally, that's not why I'm not playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I don't even care about it. I made my videos at the time saying as much. If Henry can even be gay, The only problem I have with that is I will from this moment forward never again trust any of the lore in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 because Daniel Vavra and the team have proven themselves to be unreliable narrators. When you change canonical lore, that is unreliable. Suddenly, I don't know what's true, right? You could establish Henry is dead at the end of this game and I could go, well, it doesn't even matter. You know, who cares? It doesn't even matter. In a single path chosen by the dev, out of the many choices possible in RPG, one of the choices becomes canon, not all. In this instance, look, if in KCD 1, the developers made Henry's sexuality open-ended, this would not even be a discussion. We wouldn't even need to talk about this. It wouldn't matter because his sexuality is open-ended. They didn't make it open-ended. They are the ones that closed that door. You don't get to open and close the door as you see fit. This tells me one thing and one thing only. These developers are politically captured. Daniel Vavra is politically captured. And I'll tell you why I will never play Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And it has nothing to do with a gay character in the game. It has nothing to do with that. The lead developer, Daniel Vavra, is one of the most unhinged, fanatical people I've ever seen in my life. This guy has been on a tear, attacking everyone. People who are just asking questions. You know what would have been the right way to handle this when all of this started to come out? To deal with players respectfully. People had questions. People wanted to know, like I just highlighted here. People wanted to know, dude, what's going on? Henry is supposed to be straight, and now you guys made him gay. What's this all about? The way Daniel should have come out was to say, guys, I get that you guys are confused. In the first one, we kind of made the mistake to make Henry straight, and this made some of our players, not a lot, because there's not a lot of gay people in the world, but this made some of our players feel a little bit uneasy. And so in number 2, we decided to retcon a little bit of the first one. We apologize to anyone who would have preferred Henry to be straight. We understand that, but we made sure that that's a very far off side quest. You don't even have to worry about it. It's all good. That's not how Daniel Vavra dealt with this. Daniel Vavra went on a tear, calling every YouTuber a grifter that even cared to cover it. Anyone that asked any questions was just berated and retweeted by him and made fun of, even though Daniel Vavra was the one looking silly. And then he starts attacking people for giving his game low scores like a child. That's why I will not be playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And I don't even care if Warhorse Studios eventually goes bankrupt. Miss me with your bullshit of, oh, why are you attacking the only based game ever? That's not how it works. I'm sorry, but that's not how it works. You don't get a free pass just because you were based in the past. You don't get to act like a complete and utter unhinged lunatic just because you happen to once upon a time make a based game. You're judged on your latest actions. You're judged on what you did just now. And from my perspective, I cannot support someone like Daniel Vavra and the team. Now, does that mean that I have any hate in my heart for people who want to play the game and enjoy the game? Not at all. Play the game. Absolutely. Have fun with it. But then, please, in the future, when a character is race swapped, when Little Mermaid becomes black instead of white, when Snow White becomes Hispanic instead of white, when you have Frodo and Sam screwing each other on the way to Sauron, you keep quiet. You have nothing to say. This is not a problem for you because more choice is more better, obviously. Sam could always go back afterwards and screw a girl. Of course, it doesn't matter because you yourself have said this does not matter. You don't care because more choice, more better. I don't like unprincipled people. I don't like people who make judgment calls based on nothing other than, well, I like the game, so I'm not going to complain about it. It's not how it works. It makes you dangerous. And it makes that I don't know where I stand with you. Because when are you going to change your mind next? What am I supposed to... How do I know that I can trust you in this fight when you can change at the drop of a pen and now you're doing something completely different? I'm sorry, but no. Good luck to you. Enjoy your game. There's no judgment from me. But in the future, please keep in mind the choices that you made just now. Keep that in mind. Remember, hey, I sort of decided not to complain about it during Kingdom Come Deliverance 1. I'll have a great example for you guys. If in Mass Effect 5, Liara is suddenly non-binary, I don't want to hear any complaints from any of you, including from Empress and from all the other people defending Kingdom Come Deliverance 1. Because it's just another option. It doesn't take anything away from the game. It's just a pronoun. If you're going to be okay with what KCD did and Warhorse did, you're going to be okay with that. But of course you won't be, because then suddenly you're angry again. Now it suits you. No. No. Then we started on the Little Mermaid race swap. That's the most disrespectful spit in the face black people have ever seen in my life. So who was supposed to get mad? Or were we supposed to be mad at KCD2 dev team and dumb creator tweets alongside you? Shay, I'm sure there's a lot of people that leave because they don't like it. They don't like when any... Like, if my previous videos on this topic is anything to go by, anything that is even remotely mentioned as criticism is immediately met by the fan base as, oh, how dare you attack our based game? This is the only based game in the gaming industry, and you're attacking it. What the hell are you doing? And I say, well, it's not that based. They literally changed the canonical lore of the game in order to shoehorn a political character into it. So, you know, not that based. They're pretty woke, actually. Used to the romance for female shepherd. Breaking, yeah, but he was bi, right? But you wouldn't know it unless you absolutely pursued that romance. This is why I say, I don't care. I'm not one of those anti-woke guys that have a problem with gay people in video games. If you want to have a character that's gay in the game, I couldn't give two shits. But then, be honest about it, first and foremost. Explain your decision, and make sure that that character makes sense there. I mean, that's literally what we've been talking about this entire time. It needs to make sense. Henry being bi doesn't make sense, especially since they said it themselves, Henry is straight. So now suddenly you have all of these people saying, oh, don't come at me with your facts. I don't like your facts. Your facts make me feel weird. Saying, yeah, well, they're facts. They're supposed to shoot your political nonsense in the foot. You do needs more diversity. Henry, how you doing, bro? It's an entertainment sector problem. The thing that killed my interest in this game wasn't the gay thing, but the fact that the first game doesn't matter in the least. None of the decisions matter, and it's basically like you shouldn't have even played the first in the first place. Vavra as a POS, all these developers can be bought and sold. I don't think Vavra was bought. I know he self-owned, you know, basically scored the greatest own goal of all time and then celebrated as if it was his goal by literally posting all the owners of Embracer, and Vanguard is right there on the list. But I don't think Daniel is bought. I don't think so. Daniel is the victim of influence. The slow influence of the people that you surround yourself with. If you surround yourself with politically left-leaning people, they will eventually pull you left. If you surround yourself with politically right-wing people, they'll eventually pull you right. It all depends on who are your friends, who are the people that you spend time with, who are the people that you work with. I don't think Daniel did this as a sort of, I have to add gay people to the game. I think he genuinely thinks he did this because it's a good idea. He really wanted this. But that sort of tells you something, doesn't it? Because 8 years ago, when he made Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, he didn't want this. So what changed? And why did it change? Non-binary racer, it's the constant push, and it's getting tiring. Want to be immersed in games, not be reminded of political and social issues all the time. To be fair, from everything I've seen at least, the whole gay kiss really is a very, very side quest kind of thing. Like, you have to go pretty deep in order to get to that point where you can kiss your friend from the first game that's a massive womanizer and literally just sleeps with women all the time. So that's a whole different bag. But my frustrations is with Daniel specifically, not with Henry even. I can look past the Henry stuff. What I cannot and will not look past is the way Daniel Vavra has been acting. Guys, you should go look at his Twitter feed. It's ridiculous. This is a grown man retweeting people, attacking people, throwing his toys out of his cot like a little child over everything. Attacking anyone that says anything even remotely negative about his game. And it's like, bro, it doesn't matter. Hey, you've made your game is doing well, who gives a shit? Shut up. And this is another thing that I should say. Everyone gets angry when developers attack players, except of course when those developers attack the players that you think should be attacked. Then suddenly it's okay. This is about principles. I will stand here and I will call out developers, whether they attack people on the left or on the right, because if you are a developer, your job is to make video games, not to attack your players. They don't factor into your tweets. And if you can't get that, then you should not be tweeting. Then delete your Twitter and go back to your little hole and just make your video games. You do not attack your players. Like, what the hell is this? Dude, this is a mess of epic proportions. Because it genuinely feels as if there's just so many people out there that have zero principles in this matter. Just zero. They don't care. You know, as long as it owns the ones that they want to own, they're good with anything. And it's just like, we can't live like this. I watched Rave's video. I know what Vavra's X feed looks like. He's crashing out, a lot like every woke team lead that wants to punch gamers in the face. Well, he has said that we're worse than the wokies that he fought last time, which is very interesting because I don't think he remembers the hundreds of articles that was written about him in the mainstream media, literally attacking him, attacking his video game relentlessly. I don't think he remembers that. But somehow we are worse than the wokies. And of course, what was our crime? Our crime was asking a question. That was the crime, by the way. We saw a change to the game and we asked, excuse me, sir, would you like to explain why this change is there? This makes no sense. And suddenly it was all hell break loose. I knew something was up with Jeff Keighley. Started shilling hard for the game at Summer Game Fest. We have a good saying in my homeland about this. The grayer the hair, the more devil has sway over the mind. Approximate translation. Cruzada, that's not wrong. What do you think is happening on Twitter multiple times every day from JDA and George Storch? I don't know who that is. Lol. You'd need to tell me who that is before you ask a question like that. What do you think is happening? Sorry. Andrew, I would imagine you would have to turn Henry gay for 100%. It's a quest, so yeah. Not necessarily. From what I understand, this is literally purely a side quest. There's no reason to do it outside of if this is what you want to do. But it is what it is. This is the road he chose to take. This is the door he opened. We know where it leads, and soon he will too. It's not our job to be concerned about it, honestly. No, I'm not concerned about it at all. Like, make your video game, and from everything I've heard, it's a really good game. Everyone that's played it has really enjoyed it. The graphics are apparently amazing. It runs super well. Everything's good, right? So from everything I've heard, it's a good game. And you know what? More power to them. I'm glad they did well. The gaming industry needs good games. I just can't support this. I can't support someone attacking gamers, and gamers is celebrating that. I have a problem with that. Oh, John, I've seen a couple of that guy's tweets, and it all has to do with Smash. And I just sort of went, nah, screw it. That guy is just weird. I'm just gonna stay away from that. Oh. Well, would you look at that? Strange how he listed the first 10, but he did not list BlackRock, who is literally there. This is for Embracer, by the way. Now, for those of you looking at it saying, dude, it's not even a percent, you need to understand how BlackRock and Vanguard specifically, how they invest. So BlackRock and Vanguard never owns more than 7% of any company. Their largest shares is 7%. The way BlackRock and Vanguard gains power, though, is by investing in many things. So they'll invest in Embracer, they'll invest in marketing companies, they'll invest in publishing and other publishers and other studios. So they invest in a boatload of smaller things, and because they have so much, like their influence is spread so much, it gives them a lot of influence on, you know, whichever studio they want to apply it to. So if they wanted to pressure Daniel Vavra, they could absolutely have done it. Who bought them before Embracer? I can't remember who owned them before Embracer. Let me just quickly see. Okay, so wait, what do we have here? So Daniel Vavra, would you please explain to me what's racist about telling the truth? There were no black people in medieval Bohemia, period. Musa came to Bohemia with an invading army as a member of the royal court of King Sigismund. Okay, so here's more evidence, by the way, of Daniel Vavra and how his story keeps swapping and changing and going back and forth. The next one here is, we are consulting everything with top historians on the period, and they laughed when I told them about this nonsense. Everything displayed corresponds to the morals and social norms of 1403 Bohemia, and is only there to make an interesting story and not at all to appeal to a modern audience. So you can see how Daniel Vavra, how he used to be and how he is now. You can see the differences here. Somebody needs a good close friend to tell him to... Yeah, well, I think everyone needs a friend like that every once in a while. What's this? Oh, this is Cabrutus. Yeah, I mean... Personally, this game, in my opinion, has one woke element. And that's the fact that they literally sexuality swapped their main character to now a bisexual character, changing their own canonical lore. And I'll end this before we get into the USD 8 stuff. I'll end it with this. The reason I'm upset about it has nothing to do with Henry being bi. It's that after that information came out, the way it was handled, the fact that we had these cryptic, stupid tweets constantly talking around the issue, and when they finally did address the issue, they sort of made fun of the gamers for asking the question in the first place. Almost like, well, idiots, or like, why are you asking us how we're making our game? And it's like, dude, If you were just honest from the beginning, if you came out from the beginning and you said, look, boys, yeah, we changed the sexuality. Oops. We prefer it this way. If you don't like it, it's fine. We won't force you to play the game, but this is our choice. I think it would have gone over very different. I don't think this would have become an issue at all. Daniel Vavra turned this into an issue. And I see here we have actual devs banning Steam reviews. TH, are you saying that to me? It's not Valve that's banning it. It's Embracer. So mods on the Steam forums are run for every single game is run or managed by the publisher. So you are right. It's not Warhorse. It's Embracer. Every game's publisher needs to provide their own mods for Steam forums. So Valve itself has less than 400 people that work for it. Only 80 people work on Steam. 300 people work on their own games. They work on Valve games. Valve does not have the manpower to moderate forums. If you list your game on Steam, you have one of two options. You either have the forums be completely unmoderated, which will be a disaster, or your publisher is the one that gets the moderators. Okay, TH, when did you join the conversation? Because it feels like you're coming into the middle of the conversation and trying to gotcha me on things I've already discussed with you. We've already had this conversation. I'm not going to rehash it with you. It has nothing to do with, more choice, more better. You are literally the reason I made this live stream. So go back, watch what I said earlier, and then come back and talk to me. Because what you're doing now is the literal reason this live stream is a live stream at the moment. So I'm not going to rehash it. I don't want you to leave. I want you to go watch the earlier part of the conversation. I'm not going to stop the entire stream just so that I can literally do the 40 minutes again. We just had a 40-minute conversation about the very thing that you're now coming in, trying to gotcha me about, and I'm not going to do that. All right, peace out, bro. This isn't an airport. You don't have to announce your departures. I'm from the 70s. Even back then, there was no gay guys in the town I lived in. Steam will ban you if you speak negative. I heard it was only one salty post. I don't know. I don't even care about this. This isn't really news as far as I'm concerned. It just is what it is. But reviews from other places. On Steam? No, I mean, they sold more than 1 million in the first 24 hours. Look, this game is super popular. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the game whatsoever. It is a super popular game. Everyone seems to like it. My issue, as I've stated before, and as I keep stating, my issue is the fact that if you are defending this company for what they did to Henry, your days in the Gamergate community is over. This is your retirement party. This is your retirement game. You are leaving. You're joining the woke crowd. That's where you belong. Because if in any future game there are race swaps, sexuality swaps, gender swaps, you don't get to complain. Because then I'm just going to point back to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and I'm going to be like, where were you then? Why weren't you complaining then? What was the issue then? Why are you complaining about this now? It's not a biggie. Just swapping some stuff around as we feel like it. Principles and a lack of them. Yeah, that's pretty much literally what it is. But all right, now that that's out of the way, let's turn our attention to something that's a little bit more, maybe not fun, but I think something we can agree about a little bit more. The US government. The US government, boys. We have to discuss this. Earlier today I made a video, and I'll give you guys a quick rehash, but you're gonna have to go watch that video. Keep telling yourself that you're just an extremist. What have I said that's been extreme, lol? Please point exactly to the thing that I said that was extreme. We can't move on yet. I'm quickly dealing with someone here. Just please point to the extreme bit in anything I said. Reminiscent, hold up. So you're saying a person going from heterosexual to bisexual is character growth? Is that your point? Because that's certainly not what I said. I didn't say that you can't have character growth. But changing a character's sexuality is absolutely not character growth. How's that character growth? Principles with conviction. If Henry was bi from the beginning of the first game, this wouldn't be a problem. The issue is, Chris, literally what I said. I agree with you 100%. If Henry, not even if Henry was bi from the beginning, if they left Henry's sexuality open-ended, I wouldn't care. Like, none of this would be a conversation. I would be the first one to make a video saying, dudes, what are you doing? I'll give you a great example. If Mass Effect 5 comes out and you're playing with Shepard, and Shepard is able to romance dudes, and people start complaining, I will be the first to go, guys, did you play 1, 2, and 3? Shepard was always able to romance dudes. It was always your choice. Get the hell out of here. This doesn't matter. This is in keeping with the original lore, dependent on how you play the game. Right? But that's not what they did here. Henry wasn't bisexual. Henry wasn't even curious. Henry was confirmed by the developers to be straight. So changing Henry's sexuality is changing who Henry is. It's changing the canonical lore of the game to fit a narrative. Removing player agency is also not a great way to go about it. Andrew, removing player agency, how do you mean? No Google, I'm here to fight any and all politicization of video games. I don't care if it comes from SPI or whether it comes from Warhorse. Tell me, how is making Henry bi not the politicization of the video game? When Henry was confirmed absolutely without reservation to be straight. I'm just going to leave this up here while we talk about this, so you guys can read it in your own time. This is what the Warhorse Studio developers themselves had to say in the first one. So tell me, how is this not politics entering video games? I'm open to hearing the argument. I'm genuinely open. I'm here. I'll wait. They could have done something like a gay couple in the world that Henry could meet. I feel like that would have been better representation. If Emberberry, if they wanted gay characters, why not just choose a different protagonist? Make the game take place 100 years after Henry or 60 years after Henry. Make the character Henry's grandson, or Henry's son. Sort of like the way you started the first game as Henry, the son of a blacksmith. Now you're starting the game as the son of Henry. And make that son bisexual. Perfectly fine. No problem. Right? I have no problem with that. There's a new character. You can do whatever you want, right? The point is, the lies and gaslighting, not the actual inclusion of a gay character. It's the manner in which they went about it. That's part of it, Andrew. But I'm still waiting for lol no Google to tell me how this isn't political. Because you made a claim, right? You accused me of politicizing the issue because I'm attacking Warhorse when I should be attacking SPI. Now I'm asking you, by the very metrics of what wokeness is, the inclusion of real-world politics into video games where it doesn't make sense, I'm asking you, how is this not politicizing video games? Like, how are Warhorse not woke? Explain it to me. I'm happy to hear the argument. The gay grandson of a blacksmith? Ferorius, yeah, why not? Rational is in short supply. It makes no sense. Slots, how you doing? I can't defend Vavra since two guys who are supposed to be straight engage in that BS. And genuinely, I want to be clear. This is not a gotcha. I'm not trying to play gotcha games with you. I'm not trying to wait for you to make a fool of yourself or anything like that. I'm genuinely asking. Make your best argument for it. I'm happy to hear it. I'm happy to listen. And if I'm wrong, if you convince me, I'll be the first person to go, all right, that makes a shit ton of sense. I'm fully on board with that. No problems. Let's go with that. One thing you will know about me or learn about me as time goes on is I'm not interested in cheap little victories. I'm not interested in winning the debate. I'm interested in what the truth is. Winning the debate has never mattered to me. But if we're going to be talking about the truth, we have to be truthful. It's political. Henry was not gay. He was a Christian and straight. They sold their souls. You give the devil an inch, he makes a mile. Well, if you go through Daniel Vavra's tweets, it genuinely isn't good. Right? It genuinely isn't good. Like, you go through Vavra's tweets here, right? He has these insane tweets about people, but then also just decides to, for some reason, he decides to have this moment where he tries to pretend like homosexuality was a thing, I guess, in old school Europe already. Let me just see where are those pictures that he shared. It's Christian art that he shares. Oh wait, I don't even think I can share this on YouTube. But effectively, it's artwork of like a guy bending over and bleeding from his ass, and then a nun standing behind him. Pictures like that he tweeted going, this will trigger some of you, but here's some of the stuff they did. And it's like, dude, I don't think you understand what that actually is. I don't think you understand what it is. My argument, like I said before, is that you're going Alex Jones on this, worried about minority stakes in the parent company of Warhorse that bought Koch Media. Wait, lol, no Google. So you're attacking a side point as a way to discredit the whole argument. Maybe think about that approach before we go further. You want to have a discussion about who owns it. What did I say directly after I showed you who owns the company? What was my exact words right after that? I said, I don't think Daniel made the change because BlackRock or Vanguard told him. So the very thing that you're trying to gotcha me with now, I already said isn't actually why Daniel did it. And then I explained why I think Daniel did it. So my question is, are you purposefully trying to be dishonest, or did you just not hear my argument? Mission failed. Back to the drawing board, young Padawan. I expect that this is viewed as non-canon in these types of games. Certain quest and events are not canon, but I have not played the game enough to have the full picture yet. Oh, Apple, if it's non-canon, then it's even more politicized. Because then it means you literally just did enter it or added it because you wanted the brownie points. That makes it even worse. Blasphemy, and according to scripture, is also heresy. Back in those days, that was not a thing. Look, I think homosexuality has always been a thing, right? It has always been a thing. They're not wrong about any of that. There was homosexuality back then. It was very much frowned upon, and you would absolutely either be stoned to death, hanged, or chased out of the village, right? You would not be accepted. They wouldn't have pride parades for you, and they wouldn't allow you to, sew your own pride flag. That shit didn't exist. But obviously, homosexuality did exist. So, again, the idea or the problem that I have isn't with the fact that there is a gay character in the game. Add as many gay characters as you want. My issue is, why did you decide to take a canonical straight character and turn that character gay or bi? What was the reasoning? And if anyone can explain to me why that isn't political, I'm open to that conversation. All right. Never mind that. I'm done with this conversation. If you have anything else that you want to add, you can DM me, or you can just keep writing. But I'm gonna ignore any of the extra comments here because those who agree with me are gonna agree with me, and I think those who don't agree with me are never gonna agree with me, and that's fine, right? Either way, I don't really care. It is what it is. So let's shift our attention to the United States government. Now, I've made a video earlier today where I showed all of the evidence as we have it right now, and I guarantee you guys this is a developing story. There's gonna be so more that comes out about this. The big issue is finding the information, because I've had one of my insider developers talk to me just before I went live. Actually, I got a DM from him where I was basically told they're very grateful that the stuff about Sweet Baby Inc. is now coming out, but it is so much worse than what we even now know. So much worse. Now, I've told you guys that it's been revealed to me that Sweet Baby Inc. are the ones that can get you funding. They're the ones that can get you into the door, so to speak, for very big investment funds. Apparently, Sweet Baby Inc. themselves are also funded via. But the problem is when you go, for example, on the USD website to see who is being funded, you oftentimes need the exact vendor number of the beneficiary in order to know who is actually receiving the money. Just Googling the name or just searching for the name doesn't bring up anything. So it is a mess to figure out who is in fact paying for what. But just to give you guys a list of like USD aid and how it goes, right? Unaccountable for decades, run by bureaucrats with agendas who believe they answer to nobody. Here are a few more of the ridiculous projects on which they spent your money. Now, it is important to understand this truly is your money. This is American taxpayer money. The money that you guys work for, this is their money, right? This is your money. Graham, I wasn't Googling for research. There's a website, US aid grants or something like that. It's an actual government website. And on that website, you can search for companies that are receiving funding from the government. But when you just search, for example, Sweet Baby Ink, that doesn't pop up anywhere, right? You have to find the physical vendor number in order to find who the beneficiaries are. So, it is nuts. But yeah, you better pay your taxes so that they can spend it on stuff like this. 7.9 million to teach Sri Lankan journalists how to avoid binary gendered language. 20 million for a new Sesame Street show in Iraq. 4.5 million to combat disinformation in Kazakhstan. 1.5 million for art for inclusion of people with disabilities. 2 million for sex changes and LGBT activism in Guatemala. 6 million to transform digital spaces to reflect feminist democratic principles. 2.1 million to help the BBC value the diversity of Libyan society. 10 million worth of US aid funded meals, which went to an Al-Qaeda linked terrorist group. 2.5 million to promote inclusion in Vietnam. 16.8 million for a separate inclusion group in Vietnam. 5 million to Eco Health Alliance, one of the key NGOs funding bat virus research at the Wuhan lab. 20 million for a group related to a key player in the Russiagate impeachment hoax. 1.1 million to an American LGBT group. 1.2 million to help the African Methodist Episcopal Church Service and Development Agency in Washington, D.C. build a state-of-the-art 440-seat auditorium. 1.3 million to Arab and Jewish photographers. 1.5 million to promote LGBT advocacy in Jamaica. 1.5 million to rebuild the Cuban media ecosystem. 2 million to promote LGBT equality through entrepreneurship in Latin America. Dude, the list is insane. And this is your money paying for all of this woke nonsense. Now, in my video earlier today, I highlighted to you the way Gamergate itself has been orchestrated by the government. I'm specifically talking about the pushback against Gamergate. Now, for a quick refresher, let's just go back to 2014. The year is 2013-2014. Gamers are having the time of their life playing video games. Suddenly enter Anita Sarkeesian. Anita Sarkeesian starts making waves accusing gamers of being misogynists and racists and bigots. Anita Sarkeesian looks like a quack, looks stupid and moronic. No one really cares at all. I mean, who cares? No one is going to listen to her. But much to our chagrin, much to our surprise, Anita Sarkeesian starts getting invited to all of these speaking engagements, sometimes with the gaming industry, with AAA studios and AA studios, and people would invite her to dinners. And she sets up a group called Feminist Frequency, and they're sort of consultants, but also sort of not. And she suddenly starts working with actual video game companies. And for us gamers, this is very awkward. We're confused as to, what do you mean we're sexist? Like, most of us don't even know a girl in real life. What are you talking about? We're sexist? Like, this is the old days. Remember, this is before gaming was for the cool kids, where the jocks would also game. This was when gaming was still for the hardcore nerd, Like, that's sort of how it went. So for us, this was very confusing. And then we thought, hey, you know what? At least the media has our back. The gaming media, they're gamers like us. They have our back. But then suddenly the media started attacking us as well. And before we knew it, the gamers were just being attacked from every single side by these forces that is desperately trying to change the video game landscape. Now, something to be said here. We definitely didn't win the war in 2014, but we didn't win the battle. Fundamentally, Anita Sarkeesian left being the laughingstock of the gaming industry. Zoe Quinn left being the laughingstock of the gaming industry. we won the battle because they were desperately trying to get us to break, to try us to accept feminism in video games and all the rest of it. And gamers were just like, no, I don't think I will. Leave me alone. And we just kept playing our video games. Of course, this forced them to go underground, and they've now resurfaced. And, you know, again, it looks like we are actually going to win this fight. I think this is very annoying for the people in power, because we are the one group that they seemingly can't beat. No matter what they do, no matter how hard they come, gamers just seem to be immune to this nonsense for some reason. But then you see the USAID stuff, and you just realize, wait. Feminist Frequency was funded by USAID. Most of the press and the media that write these articles was literally funded by USAID. Like, I'll show you, just for those of you that might not have seen it. This is just for Politico, by the way. These are actual funded by USAID, funded articles where Gamergate shows up. And this is just Politico. This isn't even all of the others. The entire thing, the entire pushback against Gamergate was fabricated and funded by the United States government. Now, I said at the start of this stream, no ordinary person should be okay with with USAID. USAID, the only reason USAID exists, and the only reason the Democrats are fighting as hard as they are to stop Elon Musk and Donald Trump from looking into USAID, is USAID is the government's legal arm that allows them to control the narrative, shut down speech, and basically guide society to where they want, the social engineering arm of the government. The Democrats do not want Donald Trump and Elon Musk to see what they're actually doing in there. And I think there's going to be so much more. I think there's going to be so much more. Dustborn was funded by USAID, but also funded by, I think, Norway or Denmark. One of those two governments spent money on Dustborn. We know that USAID works with actual mobile companies to make mobile video games targeted at children. It's nuts. It's absolutely insane. Then you have people like Vosh. I think I showed this today as well, but I'll do a quick rehash for those of you that didn't watch the video. This is Vosh, literally the day after USAID is shut down.
And forgive me for being a bit self-centered for a moment. I'm sorry. I apologize. I know. They say privileged streamer. My job could go out like that. You know how crazy things are getting over here? Literally, like, at any moment. You know that? They could just say, hey, YouTube, it's un-American of you to allow left-leaning people to post videos. These communist videos are pro-China. Kablamo, I'm out. And that's a little scary. It's literally, like, there's no, like, it's a day-by-day thing. I wake up every morning and I check. So, I'm just saying, in the meantime...
You don't wake up every morning and you check, because you didn't say any of this before. You were perfectly okay with everything being the way that it was until right now. Until literally the day after USAID is shut down. Now suddenly you're like, oh, guys, please sub and subscribe, because I could be out of here tomorrow. During the entirety of the Gamergate stuff, when YouTube was basically banning right-wing content creators left, right, and center, I never begged for subs. I never begged for money. Because it is what it is. You know, if it happens, it happens, and then you got to deal with it. Even now, I wouldn't do that. Except, of course, if my entire funding structure was suddenly shut down. I don't know if you guys saw, Politico just had, I think it was Politico, that just for the first time ever missed their entire payroll. Did you guys see that? What does this mean? Is there any proof so far in the targeting of children versus just incompetent writing? Just curious. 46B, no proof. But obviously, they're not going to have a memo lying around, right? Going, oh yeah, let's target the children. My speculation on the children being the target of it comes from when I listen to the dialogue of something like Dragon Age the Veilguard, and I listen to it as an adult. Obviously, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's very badly written. It's like terrible writing. But then when you look at it from the perspective of like a 12-year-old or an 11-year-old or like a 10-year-old, especially at church, I look a lot at the young people. Like I find it fascinating to watch young people interact with each other, like 10, 11, 12. Their interactions are fascinating because they might think that they're having conversations, but it's very sort of surface level, childlike. And when I listen to the dialogue, it sounds like the way 10, 11, 12-year-olds speak to each other. That's sort of the dialogue that I'm getting. It's not adult conversation. You compare Dragon Age the Veilguard dialogue to, say, for example, Cyberpunk 2077. It's worlds apart. Cyberpunk 2077 is literally written for adults. It's an adult game for adult consumers. Veilguard clearly isn't. Whatever that writing is, it's not meant for adults. So that's where my speculation theory comes in, where I have a feeling it doesn't sound good to us because it's not meant for us. It's meant for people much, much younger. Because they want those people to be indoctrinated and to, I guess, see the truth or whatever the hell they call it. You linked me something. Beaver means I'll check that out. What's this?
They played us like a damn fiddle!
Not wrong. Found out today that USAID funds the BBC. Dude, why is the US government funding the BBC? I'll have you know, it's the British Broadcasting Agency. Why is the USA funding the BBC? What's going on? I mean, it's very awkward. Yeah, Anton, that I know. So I know about the Wuhan lab stuff, but if you look at, I think it was Politico that yesterday morning, Politico for the first time ever missed payroll for all of their writers. Not just one, all of them. I can't remember if I bookmarked it. I think I bookmarked it. Let's really see. But here's the Politico stuff. You can see here the Associated Press. Look at all that. That's all money to the Associated Press, by the way. Like, that's lists and lists and lists of Associated Press. And here you can see the reason for it. The reason for all of the links. Let me just quickly see. Here's the Half the Sky movement that I told you guys about. The mobile games that they're making for children. Half the Sky movement. They're also funded by the USAID department. I could have sworn I bookmarked that post. But I could have forgotten. I'm just quickly trying to see. No, this is from a few days ago. Damn. Man. Let's quickly see here. Here you go. Politico pays employees late. Staffers believe Elon Musk's crackdown on government spending played a role. Now, this is the first time ever that Politico missed a single payroll. And Politico, of course, blamed it on a glitch. They said that there was some kind of glitch, and that's why they couldn't pay them. Now, the funny thing is, the glitch happened to every single one of their writers and staff members. Not a single person got paid. Now, I'm not saying that it's impossible. Obviously, it's possible. But it's highly improbable. Most of the time when you have glitches in payroll, you'll have like a quarter of your company being paid and the 3/4 not being paid, or maybe half being paid and the other half not being paid. The idea that all of your people just don't get paid the day after USAID gets shut down, that's interesting. That sort of suggests that Politico might be 100% funded by the US government. Not just partially, it's not just sort of writing a few posts here and there, it's 100% that you and other taxpayers are paying for this shit. We also know, of course, they probably got paid. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this I'll definitely do. Dude, I'm telling you now. The reason the Democrats are hell-bent on getting Elon Musk out of the government is because they're terrified. Elon Musk is about to uncover all of the corruption. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think we've even scratched the surface. I don't think we've scratched the fact that the Democrats jumped the minute Trump started signing all of those executive orders. The fact that they jumped at certain services and are actually suing to shut down Trump's administration and Trump's movement. Because here's what's super interesting. Trump came into this and everyone was sort of expecting just, more of the same, more of what you always get for new presidents. It sort of starts slow, but then it'll pick up speed as time goes on. Trump came in and he just signed 200 executive orders in almost a single day. Just boom, 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 boom. You see, I think the Democrats thought that they had time to put their affairs in order. They would have time to sort of move stuff around and move stuff from this department to that department. And, when Trump says he wants to audit this department, they can move some of the secret funding and stuff to another department. And so they'll have time to sort of fiddle around. But then Trump just comes in and signs 200 executive orders, basically shutting down the whole of the American government. And the Democrats were like, oh, shit. That's not how it's supposed to go. You're supposed to tell us ahead of time so we can hide the corruption from the people, not reveal the corruption. Like, what are you doing? Actually running on an anti-corruption platform? Hey, what is this even? Like, telling the truth? How does that work? They're hiding rainbow flags. Dude, I genuinely think there's some Democrats going home tonight to their wives or to their husbands going, this Trump guy is doing something very awkward. And then their husband goes, why? What's he doing? What has he done now? And they go, well, he says things and he means it. What is that called? What kind of psychological disease is that? When you say things and you actually do the things that you say. I think that's how the Democrats are literally feeling right now. They don't know what this is. Like, what is truth? How does that work? How does that function? Well, yeah, okay, sorry, Bob, you are correct. They're probably going home and then bitching to their wives' boyfriends about this new phenomena of people saying things and then actually meaning what they say. Any influence with receiving tax money via NGO subcontractors? I would not be surprised, 46. I would not be surprised. I think we're about to find out a lot of the influencers that made it onto the scene, because there's something very interesting about left-wing influencers. Almost all of them appear to have this hard cap that they hit. Like, literally all of them have this hard cap that they can't get past. Vosh goes up to a certain point and then basically just sticks there. Shoe on Head gets to a certain point and then sort of sticks there. Now, Shoe on Head sort of diversified her content to get out of the bread tube kind of, space. But even you look at her son, he went very quickly to where he is now, and he's sort of just hovering around that one part, like that one point. But then you look at conservative shows, they tend to take a lot longer to grow. Like, they don't come out of nowhere. But, I mean, except for Brett Cooper, who clearly just exploded again onto the scene. But I guess she didn't come out of nowhere. But they tend to go much further. Like, they tend to blow up and then continue to blow up until they blow themselves up. Daily Wire is a good example of that. By just, being completely anti-war for the most part until it came to the war in Israel, and then suddenly being like, oh, actually, never mind, we're pro-war again. But before that, they were growing very, very quickly. USAID pouring billions into Canadian universities and colleges. Any idea why? Anyone? Don't everyone speak up at once? This is insane. And how in the hell did it go on for this long without anybody knowing about it or caring about it? Did I just ask that? Dude, what is this? Dude, that's $1 billion for the University of British Columbia. $280 million for the Queen's University of Kings. Why is the US government funding? Dude, this should really, really piss off Americans. You guys are drowning in student debt, and your government is giving away billions of dollars to other countries that have quote-unquote free education. Like, that's the funniest shit ever. I wouldn't be surprised if the only reason, by the way, Canada and Europe can offer free education is because the American government is paying for it. I would not be surprised. Because you have to think from the perspective of the Democrats. The Democrats want free education because this gives them the ability to increase taxes and get even more power over the people. So by funding all of these free institutions in other countries in the world, the Democrats keep getting the ability to say, look at what those countries have. We can have that too. Not realizing that almost all of it is paid for by you. You guys are paying for their education. Swabbers, education, you guys pay a lot of taxes, but you don't pay anywhere near as much as Europe does. And this should just, by the way, highlight how impossible it is to have free education. Why free education is an absolute myth. It's an absolute myth. Because even with USAID, they still have to charge 50+% in taxes, which is insane. So yeah, but I'm talking from the perspective of America. The government, as soon as the US government offers education for free, taxes will go up. Like 100%, right? Taxes will go up. Yeah, I know, Swabbers. I tend not to include VAT and stuff like that because it makes the equation a little bit hard. But I know if you include VAT and all of the other sales tax and taxes that Europeans pay, it's about 75% of your paycheck goes to the government. Don't worry. I live in South Africa. We're very close to that. Very close to that. They're not opening schools for LGBTQ. No. They're opening... Americans, to all of my American friends in chat, how do you guys feel knowing that you are funding the education of the world? How does that feel? Juggernaut, how you doing, bro? Does it make you guys feel proud and happy? You know, after a long day at work, your back aches, your hands are sore, bloody, bruised, and then you see your tax check that you send to the IRS. Do you find joy knowing that money is going to the University of British Columbia to allow for those universities to provide education? Did I show you guys this? I don't know if I showed you this. Even what I'm surprised by is why so many Americans, I think Republicans have been neutered. And I do think it's time for Republicans to stand up. As Republicans, as conservatives, it's time for you to get angry. This is the stuff that you've been working for. This is the stuff that you have been paying for. And the fact that there's so many conservatives that seem to so docilely take it, just remain absolutely docile, just be like, and I kind of get it. I think a lot of conservatives are afraid of the labels because, let's be real, the left is currently protesting at the Treasury. They're turning America into one big peaceful riot again. But of course, if you as conservatives show up, it will just be your fault. You'll be to blame for everything. So I do kind of get it, but I do think that there's barbecue. Interesting that you say that. It's not money laundering. So there's this amazing interview. Someone mentioned him earlier in chat. But if you have not watched this guy yet on Joe Rogan, I'm going to link this in chat. And I ask you, go watch this. If you have not already, go watch this. Oh, where's chat on this? Here we go. Watch that episode. Your mind will be blown. Mike Baines, this dude, he highlights everything. He tells you what USAID is all about, what the idea is behind USAID. USAID is 100% a tool. It's the government's ability to control speech. To control the way people think, to control the culture. That's literally what USAID is about. Kimmy, how you doing? Tekla, I'll be honest. While he's talking about this stuff, and he's highlighting all of these things to Joe Rogan, you just sort of sit there and you go, what? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Because there's so much that USAID, the biggest misnomer in history is the word USAID. Because it has nothing to do with aid. They don't provide aid to any country. The money that they provide is all bribe money or extortion money. When they give money to a country, it is never to actually give money to that country. Antirak, who's James Corbett? Are you talking about the late night show host idiot? Yowzer, how you doing, bro? What's horrible about propaganda is, as the old quote goes, you can't reason anyone out of a position they didn't reason themselves into. Leftists are completely fact resistant. Swabbers, the sad part is, although I think it not as strongly, but the sad part is there are some on the right that is also fact resistant. They just, no. The other day I was having a conversation with someone who firmly and completely believes that the moon landing was a government psyop and that the earth is in fact flat. Firmly believes it. And they believe that it's a government lie. It's all done for the government. And I was looking at them and I went, for what purpose? What the hell is the reason for, like, if you're gonna tell me it's a psyop, great. But for what? What is the government trying to achieve? And they were like, oh, it's to discredit the Bible. I'm like, yeah, but the Bible doesn't say that the earth is flat. Unless you read it very weirdly. There's billions of Christians that believe the earth is round, and it's just fine. So what is the government trying to achieve by upholding the lie? Now that the lie didn't work. So they say the earth is round, and Christians went, cool. And they just keep living. Why are they holding up the lie if it's not serving the purpose? And they were just like, oh, you wouldn't understand. You're just brainwashed. And I'm like, okay, I guess. Okay, cool. You know, I've been on a plane. I kind of know that when you are on a plane, the earth looks pretty round. I'm not going to lie. But hey, you know, it is what it is. It was to bankrupt the Soviets, as they say in Interstellar. Never trust a person who says something but cannot provide you with evidence. Oh, they do have evidence, Reminiscent. The problem is their evidence is wrong. But yeah, there are just straight up wild people everywhere, of course. I lost the last remaining shred of skepticism when Boss Aldrin punched that reporter for asking how he felt about lying about it. Wait, so are you skeptic that the earth is round or skeptic that the earth is flat? I'm sorry, just clarify that for me. I think there's two things here, just to be clear. I think it is possible to be skeptic of the moon landing, or skeptical of the moon landing. But the idea that the earth is flat? How are you skeptical about that? What do you mean you're skeptical about it? You know, I think when you're talking about the moon landing, sure, you know, there was a massive race to get to the moon. You can see how maybe they try to take some advantages of that. The only problem I would say with that is that the Russians went there later. And do you not believe that the Russians would have come back and said, guys, there's no flag? The United States flag isn't on the moon? Because Russia at that point had no reason to play ball. Russia was the enemy of America. If Russia truly found no flag on the moon, wouldn't they have said that? Also, I don't know. The gym's pretty big, though. I mean, I could try and hit it, but it's on the second floor. That would be one hell of a punch. I could just go to the gym. I think that'd be easier. It's a lie that serves Russia just as much as the US. The world is a stage. He used to be on YouTube, but YouTube kicked him out for his documentary on Bill Gates. Literally, high school students have launched GoPros into space and proven that it's round. Like, how the hell do you think the government is even manipulating them? I don't know. I don't care about that too much because I think there's more than enough weirdness that is confirmed for us to worry about nonsense. The fact is, I won't be surprised. So here's what was told to me. And to be clear, I'm going to make a video on the conversation that I had with this Dave because it was a fascinating conversation. But the conversation wasn't a big gotcha thing. It wasn't like a massive sort of, big bombshell news. It was just very interesting. So this developer has been in the industry for more than 20 years. They've been in the industry for a very long time. Currently working for a AA studio as a very high up, like a lead, one of the leads for the studio. Let me just quickly see. What I can say is that the studio they are working for is in the top 10 of Steam games. That I can say. I asked them, would it be okay for me to say who you work for and that we could maybe sort of discuss this on the record? And I was basically told, if we're going to have a conversation on the record, you have to go to HR. You have to get approval from HR. They're going to see, HR. And HR is going to have to talk to the PR department. And they're going to have to give approval for all of the questions and all of the conversations that we're going to be having. Plus, I won't be able to say anything negative. So that's why I agreed to talk anonymously. I know who it is, but I'm not allowed to say who it is. But I know they work for one of the top 10 companies on Steam. And they've been in the industry for more than 20 years now. I think 25 years, actually. But one of the very interesting things that they told me is most developers don't actually care about politics. Most of the developers don't actually care. What happened was, and where things really went wrong, is the overcorrection from when gaming was the boys' club to where gaming became more affirmative action based. So as they started hiring more women into the video game industry, as this started happening, a lot of the people that they hired came with vendettas. They were very angry for being kept out of the gaming industry for so long, and now they were going to make changes. Ultimately, because of affirmative action, these people were promoted into leadership positions, and I was genuinely told about a story that happened at, I think, Ubisoft. I think it was Ubisoft, where a developer, far more qualified, far more experienced, was overlooked for a promotion because there was a female gamer. I believe there's 2 more stories of that. This was last year. It was in the media where the dude, this dude he leaked it on 4chan, where he spoke about how he had to train his 2 replacements. And this was for Star Wars Outlaws. He's been with Ubisoft for over 20 years. This isn't from my source. This is from last year's article. He's been with Ubisoft for over 20 years. And then Ubisoft hired 2 brand new female developers that he then had to train to become the leads for the studio. That's how it is, right? So that's sort of the woman that came in with these vendettas, and not all. it should be made clear, according to this as well, this developer, a lot of the women in video gaming are very good, and they belong there. They're really, really good. The issue is there's a lot of women in leadership positions because of affirmative action, because of DEI politics, that make the games unbearable. That really make the games unbearable. Now, why are there so many women in lead positions in these gaming studios? You see, we always think of funding, but you sometimes don't think of all the different ways in which funding works. According to this developer, one of the biggest reasons is tax cuts. Most governments throughout the world, when you have a certain amount of women in leadership positions, you get tax breaks, you get tax cuts, you get the ability to claim back on your taxes. And what oftentimes happen, and this is the very sad bit, the women that could actually be lead developers are not the ones who make it to the top, because the ones who have this vendetta, this drive, have no problem stabbing people in the back. If you don't play the game the way that they want you to play it, you're out. And this developer told me a very crazy story. Friend of theirs works for a AAA studio, very well known, isn't English first language. I can't remember what language he speaks. I have my notes, but I'm not going to bring up the notes. I'll make the video. But works for a studio, but doesn't speak English first language. First interaction that their friend has with this particular developer, we'll call this developer Sarah. This isn't the insider. This is the developer that the insider's friend is talking to. The insider refers to Sarah as he. But Sarah no longer identifies as he. Sarah goes to HR and has him reported. This developer, very confused, doesn't understand what happened because the language that this developer speaks, pronouns don't work the same way, so they genuinely didn't know. Anyways, about 2-3 months go by, and they sort of made up with Sarah. So they're no longer angry with Sarah. They understand Sarah was confused or angry, and it's fine. And they send an email to Sarah, and they end the email with a sentence and an exclamation mark. And the exclamation mark is literally there to highlight that this is time sensitive. This needs to happen as quickly as possible. They were fired the next day. They were reported by Sarah for use of threatening language. That's the modern day AAA industry. That's how it works in the AAA industry at the moment. Luna, the funny thing is, though, I can't remember. It was a historian that said this. The Middle Ages, or like, the Middle Ages, like the Dark Ages church, didn't believe that the Earth was flat. That's not why they had the massive disagreement with Galileo. It's sort of the common myth is that that's why the disagreement was. But apparently the disagreement was there was something else. There was a different reason. I can't remember what the reason was, but because I also always just thought it's because, he showed that the Earth isn't the center of the universe and that the Earth doesn't in fact, everything doesn't rotate around the Earth. but the sun, and that the earth is round, and that they had a big problem with him saying the earth is round because how dare he. And apparently they knew the earth was round like long before that even. Oh yeah, I remember now. It was the fact that he made the claim that the earth wasn't the center of the universe. The church took issue with that because if he makes that claim, then it means the Bible is lying. Of course, Galileo wasn't saying that God created the earth and that God created man on the earth. Galileo was literally just describing the position of the planets. But the church took things a little bit more by the later, shall we say. Chaos World, thanks for the follow, man. Really appreciate you. And then Moose Thompson, I didn't even say this to you, but thank you so much for the 2 months Prime sub. Really appreciate you, sir. Thank you. So I have a question. Why would Ubisoft or whatever brings woke stuff, while they don't give enough money, am I stupid or missing something? So, John, you have to think about it this way. You can make a normal game and receive funding the normal way at, say, 5% interest. You go to a bank, you make a loan for 250, 300 million. You're going to borrow that money at, say, between 3 and 5% interest. If the game succeeds, you're going to be able to pay that money back. If the game doesn't succeed, you're obviously going to struggle to pay that money back. Or you can make a couple of changes to your game and get the same amount of money for 1% interest. So in some cases, less than 1% interest. Now, if you're Ubisoft, you are thinking to yourself, okay, 1% interest is very little. Like, that's basically giving me the money for free at this point. I'm sure I can make all of these little woke changes and still sell millions of copies, right? That's the thinking. Because remember, from their perspective, because all they see is the mainstream media. They're thinking about the mainstream media, and they're thinking, well, gamers don't mind that we have a black samurai in feudal Japan. Gamers won't mind that we have a female protagonist that looks like she's been kicked in the face by a rugby player. You know, gamers won't mind any of this stuff. Gamers love it when their female protagonists look like ass. So from their perspective, I think they are as surprised as we are that we don't like it. You know, they are as surprised as we were when we saw it the first time that we don't like it. It makes no sense to them because if you only read the mainstream media, you would think that this is what the mainstream media loves. It's not lost on me that it was the mainstream media that wrote that Star Wars Outlaws' female protagonist is actually kind of cute. And I remember looking at her thinking, maybe for a boy, not for a girl. Like, if the female protagonist of Star Wars The Outlaws was a boy, you could probably go, oh, kind of cutish femboy, I guess. You know, that's maybe someone that might make you question your sexuality for a second. But not as a girl. Like, as a girl, you're looking at that character and you're going, what went wrong? Where did things go wrong here? And before people think, oh, not every character has to be beautiful. Yes, they do. Beauty sells. I don't make the rules. Look, if I could make the rules, I would make it so that every fat guy is just the peak physique for every woman in the world. I would make it so that fat people have the most success of all people in the world. But that's just not facts. Fact is, beautiful people succeed far more than ugly people. Girls don't like the fat dude. That's just the facts. That's reality. You can't change reality. There's a reason why models are models, right? There's a reason why your Aunt Sally isn't a model. Because your Aunt Sally might be really nice and she might make a wicked potato salad, but she's no bloody model. Right? And that's just how it is. Beauty sells. It's what works. Vendor, how you doing? Potato salad. A fat dude can be liked if she is charismatic. Fox, yeah, but of course I'm talking generally, right? I'm talking about in general. My aunts are Polish. They're still hot. Hey, if it works, it works. They based it on the actress playing her and deliberately changed her to make her unattractive. Humberly Gonzalez is her name. Yeah, I saw it. The actress was really hot. My aunt smokes and sound like a dude. No, you know, maybe that's what your uncle likes. Skinny girls never weak. Fatty never out of breath. Fake one never stupid. Representation just not real. Graham, well, yes. And I think to some extent, most of us, like, I would actually, and this might be a very hot take, or maybe it's a lukewarm take, depending on how you guys feel about it. But I would say realism kills games. Just outright. Realism sucks. I don't want real. I want a video game. Yes, I want my dainty, super feminine female character to be able to kick a 10-foot dude in the balls and have that guy cry like a baby. That's what I want. I don't care that it's that's just how it is. I want Shepard to be a normal human and still be able to save the galaxy 3 times. I like that. You know, I don't want realism. In fact, I think most games that hunt for this realistic representation bullshit just makes it worse. It just makes it so much worse. Like, give me the badass shit. And you know what, Reminiscent? Yes and no. Like, I will admit, in movies, it becomes a little bit more difficult. Like, you have this, 5-foot girl kicking 10 guys in the face, and just absolutely breaking them. But time and place, right? Because the same is true for a dude, right? If you have a guy, no matter how good he is, if he's being attacked by 100 different dudes, he's getting killed. He's going to run out of speed at some point. So I don't mind suspending my realism if it's good, if the character is well written. I would say the best female character that I've seen in the last 4 years would be the lead character in Silo. Dude, Silo is so good. And the female lead that they wrote there, they wrote her so well. So well. She's not this badass girl boss. She's a woman. She understands she's not as strong as men, but she uses her smarts. She uses her mind. She thinks differently to a lot of other people inside the silo, and that's what she uses in order to get ahead. It is such a brilliant show. If you haven't watched Silo yet, you absolutely must. It is a must watch, especially the second season. Second season was really good. Fox, to be fair, I don't even think America, and this will probably be a hot take, I don't think America should be helping Africa. You're not helping. You're making things worse. US aid to Africa allows for very corrupt presidents to stay in power by using American money to take care of their people while they loot their own countries dry. If you want Africa to change, stop the aid. The difference between a stable country and a broken country is a couple of missed meals. You'll see how quickly Africa sorts itself out when a couple of missed meals happen. So I would argue US aid probably does a lot more harm than what it does good in Africa. No, I know, Fox. I'm just saying. That's been one of my pet peeves for a while. I just wanted to get that off of my chest, because I'm not a huge fan of American aid to Africa, because I live in Africa, right? So I know what governments do with that money. I know what our governments do with it, and it's not good. Buddy Smith, they will obviously never stop that. But like, hopefully now with Trump in power, stuff like this will eventually change. But you have to remember, those diamonds don't enrich Africa. There are people in America that benefit greatly from those diamonds. And those people donate greatly to the government to ensure that the diamond trade continues to happen. So that will only stop once that funding stops. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Aid should be for disaster relief only. Michael, I don't even necessarily think in that sense there should be aid. If there's disaster that happens around the world, if you're in a position, send help, not funds. This is the issue. Okay, so let's say, for example, there's a giant drought in South Africa. And now the US government gives South Africa $10 billion. What the hell are we supposed to do with that $10 billion in order to save ourselves from the drought? Nothing. The money came about 5 years too late, right? That money is useless. The money means nothing. Because you can build dams, but it's a drought. There's no rain, so you're not getting that. You can build desalination plants; those take years to bring onto the grid. So that's not going to work. In the middle of the disaster, money isn't going to do shit. Send actual aid. Send things that they can actually use. Send tankers with waters if you can, or with water if you can. If it's a fire, send equipment to fight the fire. That stuff I'm kind of okay with. The idea that you're going to just drop a couple of billion on a country that's struggling, I mean, like, okay, we're helping you. I think, with what? If I use your money to put out the fire, I'm just making it worse. I'm just going to make it worse. With our government, they aren't looking at the future. Even the DA is buggering around now. Yeah, well, South Africa is a bad example. It's a terrible country. But no, ultimately, this is sort of just what I wanted to talk about. And I wanted to do it live because, obviously the KCD stuff was... It's a sensitive issue. I get that. I get that it's a divisive issue. I get that not everyone agrees. And that's fine, I think ultimately that's probably what we'll do from now on in the future. You guys can expect a lot more of these live streams, just sort of impromptu goings live whenever there's like super serious or super big topics that would just be better discussed in a live stream rather than proper videos. Yeah, maybe for like super divisive issues, we'll do more of these live streams, but they are going to be super impromptu. They're not, I'm not going to schedule anything. I promise one thing, it will always be around this time. So the same time that this started, at around 6. So if I'm going to do one of those impromptu streams, it's going to be around 6. Jimmy, I understand that, but politics is relevant now. That's just the facts. Trust me, I would love to go back to just talking about normal gaming news and covering all of our favorite games coming out, but The problem is all my favorite games keeps getting politicized. And that is... Oh, man. I'm already looking at Mass Effect 5 and thinking, well, Andrew Wilson said some stupid... So, that's probably going to be a wash as well. Like, I can't wait to play Mass Effect Live Service. It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. Have you guys seen the Mako or the Mako in a live service game? Just these random pop-ups where you have to drive with the Mako and go collect stuff and bring it back to your ship for special currency, so you can spend the special currency on doing special dungeons and special quests in order to buy special loot. I just hope that he was just lying to save face. That's my hope, at least. What am I looking at, Z Vengeance? Based. Absolutely based. The fact is, they did. They kept trying to insert. It's so funny to me that we sort of stood around. We took it for such a long time. And now that we're finally standing up, now these assholes are like, why are you guys like this? Why are you guys like this? And it's like, well, because we asked you nicely to stop. You wouldn't stop. So now we're glad you're suffering. Fox, and he's not wrong. He's not wrong. There's so many great developers that can't find work. I've spoken to a couple of developers that's been out of the industry for quite a while. Because they can't find work. They don't want to work for AAA studios because AAA studios are ass. But the AA studio doesn't have as many people and it doesn't have many spots available. Kingpin, you'd be surprised. I think a lot of eyes are going to be opened. It might be slow. It's going to be painful. People are going to fight it. They're not going to want to. They're not going to want to accept. But I think eventually they will. Just wait. I think good things are coming. Good things are coming. But anyways, what isn't coming is, well, what is coming is my sleep time. It's 8 o'clock. I need to go grab some dinner, and then get ready for bed. John Ant, how you doing, bro? We'll let you in. We'll show you the door. Oh, there's a brilliant quote that someone reminded me of that I should have used in my video covering this, and I completely forgot. Steak. Smoked ribeye with chicken sausage. Should be looking forward to it. The quote is from Mass Effect. And it's the Reaper that says to Shepard, "You exist because we allow it. And you will be destroyed because we demand it." And that is a quote to live by. I'm going to start using that quote so many more times. Because that's where we are now. The woke left existed because we allowed it. They will be destroyed because we demand it. That was a good quote from Mass Effect. That was how someone reminded me of it on my video about it. Someone in the comment section was like, because I ended my video by saying you exist because we allow it. Because we allowed it. And I didn't finish the quote. And then they said, man, I was so looking for that quote. And I was like, dude, I forgot. That would have been such a badass way of ending that video. That would have been such a badass way. As long as we don't choose green ending and merge with him. No, John, we're not doing that. The scary truth is, the strong decide the fate of the weak. Neutrality only exists because the strong support it. True. I'm freaking loving it. It's not the end of the world. But it's super entertaining. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go. I'm going to go have some food. And I will see all of you either tomorrow or Saturday. Most likely tomorrow, depending on how many videos there are and what time we finish the podcast. But I think it's going to be a shorter podcast because Rurikon has to play Monster Hunter. And so he probably doesn't want to go too long. So if the podcast isn't that long, I'll be streaming tomorrow afternoon. Just normal stream. So not special news night stream. Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you so much for spending your day with me. I hope you had fun. I know I did. Thank you so much for all the back and forth. For those of you that disagreed with me, I'm sorry, but that's just how it is. If you agreed with me, thank you. I appreciate you. And as always, be good to each other. Be kind to each other. And I will see all of you in the next one. Peace.